شے کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، صرف رونے کو محمد کی نواسی رہ گئی، صرف رونے کو محمد کی نواسی رہ گئی، سج گئی قاسم کا ٹکڑوں سے ادھر کرب و بلا، ماں ادھر بیٹی کی دلہن کو سجاتی رہ گئی، چینتا تھا شمر چادر اور زینب بار بار، چینتا تھا شمر چادر اور زینب بار بار، اپنی چادر کے محافظ کو بلاتی رہ گئی، ہر تماچے پر سکینہ منہ پہ رکھ کر ننھے ہاتھ، ہر تماچے پر سکینہ منہ پہ رکھ کر ننھے ہاتھ، نیلے رخساروں کے غازی کو دکھاتی رہ گئی، قید میں بالی سکینہ کو ملا بابا کا سر، قید میں بالی سکینہ کو ملا بابا کا سر، منہ پہ رکھ کر جو سوئی ماں جگاتی رہ گئی، مادر اصغر نہ بیٹھی سائے میں اصغر کے بعد، سائے میں تو زندہ لاش باقی رہ گئی، اے مسلمانوں تمہاری غیرت کیا مر گئی، اے مسلمانوں تمہاری غیرت کیا مر گئی، تم تماشائی تھی زینب منہ چھپاتی رہ گئی، پر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔ Please recite your loudest salawat. Recite Al-Qazwini.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ونادى نوح ربه فقال ربي إن ابني من أهلي وإن وعدك الحق وأنت أحكم الحاكمين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. There are many families, especially those that are living in the West, who face many challenges, economic challenges, religious challenges, the challenge of raising proper Muslim children in the West, safeguarding them, protecting them from the dangers, spiritual dangers, religious dangers, akhlaqi dangers. This is a jihad. Muslim families who live in the West and preserve their families and children, this is their jihad. It's not less than being in the battleground, defending your honor and dignity and defending Muslim lands from intruders. This is a jihad of its own. It's an effort that you're making. You're safeguarding yourself and your family. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. O you who believe, protect yourselves and your family members from hellfire. This is a task. It's a responsibility upon the shoulder of every father and mother everywhere, but more so here in the West. There are some families that have children and they have teenagers. Now, children are very innocent. They listen to you, they obey you, what you tell them, what you teach them, they take from you. But as they grow older, it's a different story. It's a different story. You know, when you have children, I'm sure most of you have experienced this. When you have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and you stand and you pray, they come and stand next to you. And they pray, and they find it very enjoyable. As soon as you stand at home to pray, they also bring a turba and they pray with you. That's a beautiful moment. Cherish it, because when they grow older, that's not going to happen. When they become teenagers, you have to beg them. You have to beg them. You have to plead with them. Come and do your salah. It's time for salah. Come and pray. Please, please, please. You have to plead with them. You have to beg them. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Some of them, especially with the distractions that they have, their phones, with social media, with gaming, with the games that they have, and it keeps them busy for hours, that it's hard to grab them and get them to pray. They become lazy, especially young men, and they're obsessed with their hair. Now they have to perform wudu and mess up their hair. You know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to get them to come and pray. You know, these young men, they're obsessed with their hair. And they go every 2 weeks, they go to a barber with a very, very expensive haircut. And they come back and the hair it's completely the same. Nothing has changed. They think, they say there's a difference, but we don't see any difference. Raising a teen in the West is not an easy task. It's a challenge. It's a daily challenge. It's a daily jihad, especially those who are not submissive. They don't take orders. You know, when they're children, they listen to you. They listen to anything that you tell them. Now that they're older, it's hard. Getting them to come to the masjid is a difficult task. Getting them to pray is a difficult task. Even in Muharram, even in Ramadan. It's not easy. Getting them to come to the masjid. Some slack off in school thanks to the iPhones and the PlayStations. We have the founders to thank for this gift. Our children, some of them, they slack off in school. They don't get the good grades that we want them to get. Correct? You know, you provide your children with everything, but in return, you expect them to at least do good in school. They don't. Or some of them, they're out all the time with their friends. Who are their friends? You don't know. They spend hours at night. Maybe they come back late at night. This is a challenge that many Muslim families in the West, they have to deal with. Outside of the house, you're worried, especially now that they're driving. They're 17, 18. They have their license. And you know, the most dangerous formula is putting a teen behind a wheel in a car. They all love speeding. And you're constantly worried. You're constantly live in anxiety. Is my son and daughter, are they going to come back home safely? You can't sleep when your son and daughter are outside. By midnight, past 1, you're worried for them. Are they going to come back home safely or not? You're worried. Now that they're home, there's another worry. There's another anxiety. They're always in their room. Always in their room. You don't see them. They're always on their phone. Come down for lunch. They don't come down. Come down for dinner. We have family over. They don't come down. We have guests over. They don't come down. They don't eat together. They don't eat with the family. They're always missing from family gatherings. Or the family goes out for the weekend on a Saturday or a Sunday for a picnic. They want to stay home. They always want to stay home. They're in their rooms. This is very frustrating. Some of them fight with their siblings, or they could be bullies towards their siblings. They fight. This causes you agitation. This causes you frustration. What do you do in this case? What do you do with a rebellious teenager? You can't get them to do anything. Do good in school, they don't. Pray, they don't pray. Pray on time, they don't pray on time. Come to the masjid, they don't want to come to the masjid. You don't know who their friends are. God forbid, maybe they do something else. You know, it starts off with smoking cigarettes, and then maybe it goes on to something else, maybe doing drugs. And then they get drifted completely in a different direction. What do you do in this case? Do you use physical abuse? This is a problem. Do you kick them out of the house? This is another problem. At the end of the day, they're your children. They're your children. They were made from you. If they are successful, people will say, congratulations to their parents. They raised successful children. If they are a failure, they will reflect on our parenting. People will say, look at so-and-so. They did not know how to raise their children. They did not know how to raise a proper daughter or a proper son. So it comes back to us. What do we do in this case? Some teenagers, they ruin the lives of their parents. It's a fight every day. It's a challenge every day. It's an argument every day. Not every day, from morning till night, over the way they dress or their hair or their hijab. If it's a daughter, then the problem might be even bigger, because then you have the issue of hijab, the way they dress, who do they speak to, you know, what colors do they wear, their clothing. This is a challenge for a lot of parents. Who do they go out to? Who do they go out with? This is a daily struggle. It's a daily struggle. And some, they're very disappointing. Some teenagers, they keep on disappointing their parents, either academically in school, they don't get the best grades, or religiously, they don't practice, they don't wear hijab, or they don't pray, they don't fast, or morally, or all of the above. This is a very common story in almost every household in the West. How do we deal with rebellious teenagers? وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد. First of all, my dear friends, if you have rebellious teens, you have to realize this in the beginning. You are not the only one. You are not the only family. Every other family that has children of the same age range, they have the same challenges. Every other mother and father who are raising teens in this country, in this society, they are going through the same challenges that you're going through. So you're not the only one. Don't think that this is your only challenge. This is your challenge and nobody else's. No, no. All parents will have to deal with the same. Even the parents who have little kids now, and you see them in the masjid with beautiful kids, believe me, 10 years from now, they will be where you're at. They will also have those challenges. This is very, very common for all parents with teenagers to have these challenges. 2, don't think that it's just your challenge. The prophets of Allah had such a challenge. Some of the prophets had rebellious teenagers. Some of the imams had rebellious teenagers. They had. And it's recorded in the Quran. Adam alayhi salam. Adam had 2 sons. One of them was obedient, the other was disobedient. One of them was a failure, the other one was a success. 50-50. He only had 2 sons. 2 sons. One made him proud and the other disappointed him. One killed the other. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ ابْنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَا قُرْبَانًا فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ قَالَ لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ. When Allah says, tell them the story of the children of Adam when they made an offering and Allah accepted the offering of one and rejected the offering of the other. The one who was rejected, who was whom? Qabil. He told his brother Habil, لَأَقْتُلَنَّكَ, I will kill you. And indeed, he did. Habil, in return, he said, لَإِن بَسَطْتَ إِلَيَّ يَدَكَ لِتَقْتُلَنِي مَا أَنَا بِبَاسِطٍ إِلَيْكَ ما أنا بباسط يدي إليك لأقتلك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين. If you extend your hand to kill me, I will not extend my hand to kill you. You see, this is the manners of prophets. A lot of us, we have family members that can be toxic. Sometimes siblings, sometimes cousins, sometimes it's an aunt, an uncle. They could be toxic, but we are taught in Islam to not be toxic. If they extend a hand to kill us, we say, I will not extend mine. You do what is befitting of your akhlaq, and I do what is befitting of my akhlaq. I will not return the favor. I will not stoop to your level. You hurt me, you bother me, you curse me, you do this, but I will not stoop to your level because I have respect for myself. We learn this from the children of Adam. This is one incident. Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh had a son that was disobedient. But the problem is, Nuh's son was not a teenager. Although he says, قَالَ يَا بُنَيْ, O my child, اركب معنا. When Nuh built his ark, he told his son, my child, Ya Bunay. Bunay is my little baby, my child. Come and ride the ark. You know how old this child was? 500 years old. Nuh's son was 500 years old because Nuh himself was 1,000 years old. 1,000 years old. His son was half his age, 500 years old. And this teaches you another lesson, that no matter how old you become, you're still a baby in the eyes of your father and your mother. When you come late at night, don't say, Mom, I'm 40 years old, or Dad, I'm 50 years old. In their eyes, you're still a child. In their eyes, you're still a baby. You know, they say that when a man comes home late from work or at home, 2 women are worried. One, his mother, and the other, his wife. but for two different reasons. His mother says he got in a car accident, he got arrested, he got abducted, but his wife says there must be another lady. There must be another lady. This is how your wife thinks, and this is how your mother thinks. You're always a child in the eyes of your mother. وَنَادَى نُوحٌ ابْنَهُ وَكَانَ فِي مَعْزِلٍ يَا بُنَيَّ ارْكَبْ مَعَنَا. My son, my child, ride the ark with us. He said, no. قَالَ سَآوِي إِلَى جَبَلٍ يَعْصِمُنِي مِنَ الْمَاءِ. I will go to a hill, and the hill will protect me from the flood. قَالَ لَا عَاصِمَ الْيَوْمَ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. Today there is no rescue. There is no protection from the command of Allah. لَا عَاصِمَ الْيَوْمَ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. Nuh alayhi salam had a disobedient son who was a disappointment. If you think that your son or daughter is a disappointment, one of the God's messengers had a son that was a disappointment. No. I will say more. Yaqub alayhi salam. Prophet Yaqub had 12 sons. 2 of them were good, Yusuf alayhi salam and his brother Binyamin. 10 of them were a disappointment. Imagine a prophet of Allah who has 10 children, 10 sons, grown, and they were not teenagers, grown men that were disappointment. They were a disappointment to him. They made him feel disappointed. They made him feel ashamed. Why? Because they had envy towards their brother Yusuf. And he had warned his brother, my son, he had warned his son, do not say your dream. قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا. My son, do not say your dream to your brothers. Otherwise, they will have ill intent towards you. And that's exactly what happened. They took Yusuf and they set up a stage pretending that Yusuf was eaten by a wolf, and they threw him in a well. Who were these? These were the children of a prophet. 10 sons, 10 children of a prophet. Only 2 of them were good. So if you think that why is this happening to you? Why do you have a rebellious teen, a rebellious son or daughter that never listens to you, never obeys you? Well, the prophets of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had it even sallallahu alaihi wasallam had it even worse. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear friends, why is it that teenagers become rebellious? You see, we have to understand something very important right in the start. You see, when they're kids are still very innocent. And they take orders, they listen. Anything you tell them, they listen. In your eyes, you are your children's superheroes, because that's the only thing they know about life. Mommy and daddy. Their dad is the best dad in the world. He's the strongest, the smartest, the most intelligent, the most knowledgeable. That's why they'll ask you, Dad, what is this? What is that? How much? They'll ask you questions that you would normally ask ChatGPT. But your kids ask you. Why? Because in their eyes, you're the smartest. And you're the strongest. And you're the most powerful. But as they grow older, they discover that no, Dad doesn't know everything. Mom doesn't know everything. So that begins to change all of a sudden. And you see these children, they grow old, they grow until they hit 12, 13. They start going through maturity. They start maturing. They go through puberty. They go through adolescence. Now, this is a time of transformation. It's a biological time of transformation. Their voice thickens. They grow taller. They start growing a beard. With girls, it's different. They go through biological changes. So you see them, everything about them. They start becoming young men and young women. So physiologically, biologically, they change. Mentally, they also change. Psychologically, they go through changes. They're not little kids anymore. You can't fool them. You can't make up stories and tell them. Now they're asking questions. Now they understand everything. Now some of our kids know more than us. Now we have to ask them. Why? Especially with their phones and ChatGPT and social media. Now it's us asking our kids, what's the population of this city? Or what's the biggest airport in the world? These common facts. Now it's the other way around. Instead of them asking us, now we ask them, because now they're smarter. Now they know everything. Here, you can't boss them around. You can't tell them, do this. This is halal and that is haram. They'll say, why? You have to have an answer ready. You can't say just because. You can't say, well, if you do this, there's hell. And if you don't do that, there's heaven. It doesn't work that way. I remember one of my kids, he was praying with me. He was maybe 7 years old. And he was praying with me. He said, Dad, can I sit? I used to have back pain, so I would sit sometimes to pray. I couldn't stand. So he said, Dad, can I sit the way that you sit? I told him, well, when I sit, I have back pain. Now I'm fine. You're not supposed to sit. You have to stand. So he said, well, what's the difference if I stand and I pray and if I sit and I pray? I say, see, Dad, when you go to heaven, if you stand and you pray, God gives you a palace. But if you sit and pray, God will give you an apartment in heaven. He says, Dad, I want an apartment in heaven. That's all I want. They'll begin to question. They begin to think. They don't take simple answers, yes or no. They have complicated questions. You need to provide complicated answers. They're undergoing changes. We don't understand this. We don't understand this. We don't understand that they're going through changes. Let me give you another example. One of the habits of teenagers, especially when they hit 13, 14, they all want to smoke. They smoke. Why? Because smoking is cool? No, but because adults do it. They think it's the adult thing to do. So now that they're older, they think, wow, I'm an adult now. I'm becoming an adult. An adult smoke, so I should smoke, right? They want to drive. Why? Driving is a hassle. Today, all of us adults, we wish we had drivers, especially with the traffic that you have here in Atlanta. I thought we had it back in LA. God help you guys here in Atlanta. Not thinking of moving here. Here you need a driver. But with kids want to drive. Why? Because they think it's the adult thing to do. Because adults drive. You're 15, 16, you want to drive. Because it's the adult thing to do. You have to understand this. We don't get it. Why is he smoking? We get upset. It's not about smoking. It's about showing that you're an adult. It's about being an adult. So understanding them is something very important. Another thing, my dear friends, one of the reasons why some teens are rebellious is because of us. We have to blame. Yes, me, you, all of us parents here. Why? Because sometimes we spoil our children too much. Too much. I understand that love for our children, this is bestowed by Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah has put this in every father and mother to spoil your children, to look after them, buy them what they want, not just their needs, but their wants. This is good. If you have the ability to provide, and I understand this. Why? Because most of us were immigrants. Either we're immigrants, our fathers were immigrants, we come from immigrant families. Our parents, they had it tough. They had it hard. They had to migrate. They had to start from zero. They had to start from scratch. Some of us, we had to start from scratch. We don't want our children to go through what we had to go through. Perhaps our parents could not provide for us everything that we needed, so we try to provide for our children everything that they need. But there's a limit. It should be in moderation. You think that giving a credit card to a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old son or daughter and giving them the freedom to buy whatever they want, go out whenever they want, buying them a car on their 16th birthday or 17th birthday, you think that this is love. You think that you're doing them a service. You're actually not doing them a service. Giving them too much freedom, this is dangerous. It will be misused. It will be taken advantage of. It should be in steps. Even if you can afford buying a car for your 16-year-old. But it doesn't mean that you should. Because this is complete freedom. You're spoiling them. And then when they start coming back at 1 in the morning, who do you blame? You blame your son or daughter? No, you blame yourself. Because you gave them that freedom. Spoiling them. Or justifying for their mistakes. Justifying for their mistakes. I've seen some parents at some mosques, some Mosque administrators, they come and they tell parents that, listen, do you know what your son did? Do you know what your daughter did? Oh, my son, he's going through a lot of challenges, and my daughter is going through difficult. They start making excuses. Don't make excuses for them. Don't make justifications for them. A lot of parents, they're experts at making excuses for their children. If their son or daughter, they get in a fight or they didn't get good grades, yeah, they're not, they're going through a rough time at the moment. Or they're this, they're that. Why are you making excuses? Who appointed you as a lawyer for your son or daughter? Let them defend themselves. When you make excuses, when you make justifications for their mistakes, you're sending them the message that you can get away with whatever you want. No one will hold you accountable. I will not hold you accountable. You could do whatever you want. This is the wrong message. And then when they become rebellious and they don't listen to you, they feel, okay, what's going on? And a lot of times I've seen that parents, when one parent wants to be strict and the other says, no, just let him be. Let him have a good time. Let her have a good time. Let her come back at 1 a.m. The father wants his daughter to come back early. The mother says, no, let her have a good time. Or the other way around. This is a mistake as well. Parents have to be on the same page. You can't play good cop, bad cop. That doesn't work. Parents have to be on the same page. You're either both strict or lenient, or you have one policy. You cannot have two policies. It's like a government. It's a government. One ministry has one policy, the other ministry has a different policy. So what's going on here? What sort of government is this? How are they supposed to run the country when they have two different policies? Parents have to have the same policy. Be on the same page. That we tell our son to be back at 11 p.m. That's it. No excuses, no justifications. The father doesn't say 11, but the mother says 1 a.m. or the other way around. They have to learn responsibility. They have to learn that they will be held accountable when they break laws. They have to know the value of money. Our children don't know the value of money because we've given them all they've wanted and they don't know the value of the money. They don't know the value of working hard, achieving, studying hard, making it. Our parents had to make it. We had to make it. Our children, they have everything, ready for them. This is a mistake. Another thing, my dear friends, is that we have to try to understand them. We have to try to understand our teens. Maybe they're going through problems. Maybe they're going through difficulties, and we don't understand. Let me explain more. You see, many of us are immigrants. Our children, maybe some of them don't speak English properly, or they have an accent, or their color is different. Here in America, some people can be very racist. The way we dress, the way our hair is, our beard, hijab, our color. Maybe they're bullied at school, but they don't tell you. Maybe their classmates bully them, make fun of them, make fun of the way they dress, the way they speak, their accent, their hair, their hijab. Maybe they're being bullied, and they don't tell us. But they take their frustration, not at school, they take their frustration at home, on the mother, on the father. They become rebellious. They don't listen. They don't eat. They're always locked up in their room. You have to understand why. Maybe they're facing a difficulty at school. They're being bullied. Maybe they're being harassed. Maybe there's a group in school, the popular group, they're picking on them. It's not hard to be it's very hard to be unpopular at school, especially in high school. Especially in high school. If you're not the popular one, if you don't fit in, this is a nightmare. High school becomes a nightmare, especially for our kids. Why? Because maybe they don't fit in. They don't have the same color. They're not white. Maybe they speak with a different accent. Maybe they look different. They dress different. We have to realize that maybe some of them get bullied at school. They're harassed at school. But they can't take out their frustration at school. They take out our frustration at home, with me, with you, with their parents, with their siblings. We have to try to understand where they're coming from. And we try to fix that problem for them at school. They're being bullied and harassed at this school. I'll take them to another school. I'll put them in a private school. Whatever it takes to provide a safe learning environment for my son and daughter. Nothing is more valuable than my son and daughter. If they're being hurt at school, I'll change their school to somewhere else. Another reason that some youth can become rebellious is if you favor some children over others. If you have boys and girls and you favor your boys over your girls, this will cause animosity at home. This will cause them to be rebellious. Or you have several children and you have your favorite, you favor your favorite over others. I've seen some families that some children, they are held accountable to the fullest. And some children, they get away with everything. In the same family, the same household, with the same parents, the eldest, for example, gets away with all mistakes, but the youngest is held to high standards or is held accountable for all the mistakes that they do. This is incorrect. You have to have one policy for all your children. Where's the equality? There has to be equality. And we have ahadith, several ahadith that emphasize equality amongst children. Treat them equally. Even if you love some children more than others, do not show it, because this causes animosity. This causes envy and jealousy. And this is exactly what Prophet Yaqub did with his children. Why were they upset? Why did Yaqub's sons throw Yusuf in the well? Why? Because they felt that their father Yaqub alayhi salam loved Yusuf more than his other children. إِذْ قَالُوا لَيُوسُفُ وَأَخُوهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا مِنَّا. They said that Yusuf and his brother Binyamin. Why did they say brother? They're his brothers as well. Yusuf and Binyamin were from one mother, and the rest of the brothers were from a different mother. They had the same father, Yaqub, but their mothers were different. They said that Yusuf and his brother, meaning Binyamin, Yaqub loves them more than others. This caused animosity. This caused envy. Treat your children the same. You buy them a gift, buy all of them a gift. Don't favor one over the other. Don't let one, you hold them accountable, and the others, you let their mistakes slide. This is incorrect. You either hold all of them accountable or not, because this causes rebellion at home. This causes hatred. This causes animosity. This causes envy, and it will last until they're old. Believe me. There could be children, but you favor one over the other. This animosity will last even when they're in their 40s, when they're in their 50s. I've seen families like this. I've seen brothers. Yeah, my mother, she used to favor him ever since we were 5. He's a 55-year-old man. He's 55, but he remembers that his mother or father favored his brother over him 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So this is a mistake. You have to be very careful that this doesn't happen. Another problem, my dear friends, that causes rebellion and causes mood swings in our teenagers is phone addiction and gaming addiction. And this is the disease of the day, the disease of the era, phone addiction. A lot of our kids, they're on their phone all the time, at home, at school, in the car, on the bus, on a plane, all the time. Their necks are down and they're looking at their phones. Or gaming. A week ago, today's Friday, correct? Last Friday at Masjid Ali in New Jersey during Khutbatul Jum'ah, I spoke about gaming, addiction to gaming. Not just children, but even adults, by the way. Even adults. I've seen grown men in their 30s and 40s, they're addicted to gaming. They stay up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. playing games. He has a wife. He has kids, he has work, but he's addicted to gaming. He comes back from work and he sits on the PlayStation for 5 hours straight. This is a problem. This is a problem for our kids. Phone addiction, gaming addiction. This causes them to become rebellious. Why? Because there's no physical sports. They don't see the sun. They don't enjoy the weather outside. They don't go bicycling. They don't go playing sports. They're constantly online or with these games or phones. The minute that you take them away, they turn into savages. They turn into savages. Try turning off the PlayStation while they're playing. Oh, God help you. God help you. They become scarier than a lion, than a hungry lion. if you turn off their PlayStation or you take away their phone. Why? Because they're constantly on their phone. They're constantly gaming. And we allow them to do this. We allow them to do this. When they were young, 3, 4 years old, when the father wants to take a nap in the afternoon, here, son, take your iPad. In the car, when you're trying to drive, even some mothers, she's trying to drive, here, daughter, take your iPad. Here's the phone. You turn on YouTube for them. We added the problem. We taught them. We taught them this phone addiction or the iPad addiction. This causes them to become rebellious. This destroys them. This destroys them. I've heard, I don't know how true this is, I've heard that the founders of Apple, they don't allow their kids to use these gadgets. They've made these gadgets for me and you, for our kids, not their kids, for the consumer, to make billions of dollars off of me and off of you, but not for them, because they know the damaging effects of these gadgets. I wish to continue, but I see that my time is coming to an end. My dear friends, pick your battles. You can't have a daily battle with your kids. You have to be diplomatic. You can't be a dictator at home where you set the rules, and of course there has to be rules. There has to be rules. But you have to set the rules prior. You have a calm talk, peaceful talk, that listen. On the weekdays, 1 hour of usage of phone. On the weekends, 2 hours. On the weekdays, you're back at home by, for example, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. On the weekends, till 11 or till midnight, depending on their age. You set rules, and you let them know the rules ahead of time so that they don't say, oh, you didn't tell me. I had no idea. No, you let them know ahead of time. This is 1. 2, pick your battles. Pick your battles. You can't have it your way all the time. You can't have a battle from morning till night. You know why? Because it destroys your health. When you're arguing with your son and daughter from morning till night, you know who it's destroying? You. At the end of the day, we're blood and flesh and bones. At any moment, we could have a heart attack or a stroke, and we die from yelling, from arguing, from being frustrated all the time. No. Pick your battles. You can't be a dictator all the time, nor do you give a free pass. You can't have a free pass all the time. This is not correct parenting. There has to be some middle ground. You're moderate. There's rules, but at times you can be a bit lenient. There are some things that are not worth fighting over, but there are some things that you have to fight over. For example, coming late at night. This is something that you cannot compromise. You're at night, you come back at 12 midnight, at 11 p.m. You don't compromise. Or for example, their haircut, let them have their haircut. You have to choose your battles. Pick your battle. You cannot have a battle on everything, on food, on going to the gym, on clothing, on hijab, on earrings, on makeup, on salah, on friends. What sort of life is this? It will be a life of struggle. It will be a life of arguments. You have to pick and choose and prioritize your arguments. Also, spend quality time, my dear friends. We as parents, we also slack off. Our life is all about business, especially the fathers. They go from morning till night, and they don't know what's happening in the lives of their children. Who are their friends? Who are they speaking to? What do they do on social media? What are they posting? Right? What are they doing? God forbid, are they doing drugs? Are they smoking? What are they doing? They have to be involved. Spend quality time with them. Go on road trips. Take them on trips. Spend quality time. These are the best hours. These are the best times in your children's life. Don't be busy with business. Business will remain business. And where will business get to us? Where will it get us? I could make millions, but if I lose my daughter, if I lose my son, then I've lost everything. Even if I make millions of dollars, it doesn't mean anything. If I've lost my teenager, this is a problem. And lastly, when we parent by example. Sometimes it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. Our children learn by example, my dear friends. You want your daughter to wear hijab? You have to be wearing hijab. You want your daughter not to put on makeup? You cannot put makeup. You don't want her to talk to strangers, men? You cannot talk to strangers, men. You want your son to pray? You have to pray. You want him to pray on time? Pray on time. and he'll learn. You don't even have to lecture. You don't have to come and argue, son, pray on time, pray on time, pray on time. All you do is you pray on time. Set a good example, and they will follow. Our kids, my dear brothers and sisters, our kids learn from our actions, not our words. Our words, sometimes they go in one ear and come out the other. They learn from our actions. What we set for them, they will learn. As Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, she set an example. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. She parented by example. By example. One night, Al-Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam woke up in the middle of the night and he saw his mother Fatima praying Salat al-Layl. And she was praying for different individuals, this person, this person, this person, this person, but she does not mention her own name. When she finished, Imam al-Hassan, he told her, my dear mother, I saw you praying for so many people, but you did not pray for yourself. She said, Bunay al-jar thumma dar. My son, this is a famous Arabic saying, your neighbor, then yourself. In Islam, we're taught to think of our neighbors first, our family members first, and then pray for yourself. This teaches us, Fatima al-Zahra taught her son a lesson that to be generous even with dua, not just money, but even with dua. And the day that they fasted for 3 days, when Imams al-Hassan and al-Hussein, they were ill, and they made a nadr, their parents made a nadr to fast for 3 days. On those days, 3 individuals, they came and they asked for food. Fatima al-Zahra herself, not Amir al-Mu'mineen, she gathered the loaves of bread and she donated. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. My dear brothers and sisters, these first days of Rabi' al-Awwal, they are still days of Aza. They are the days that the house of Fatima was attacked. After the departure of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih, the house of Fatima was attacked. The house of Amir al-Mu'mineen was attacked. Muhsin was aborted. These were days of Aza for the holy household of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Fatima al-Zahra would come to the grave of Rasulullah. She would grab a pile of sand and she would smell it and remember her father. ماذا على من شم تربة أحمد أن لا يشم مدى الزمان غواليا صبت علي مصائب لو أنها صبت على الأيام صرن لياليا. She tells my father that tragedies have befallen upon me, that if they were to befell, that they were to fall on a day, the day would turn into night. These were the catastrophes that occurred. The day that the house of Fatima al-Zahra was attacked, they brought wood and fire. It was days like this, the first days of Rabi' al-Awwal. They brought wood and fire and threatened to burn down the house of Fatima al-Zahra. That man was told that, do you know who's in the house? Fatima is in the house. He said, I will burn down the house even if Fatima al-Zahra is inside. قال وإن, so what if Fatima is inside the house? They burnt the house or threatened to burn down the house. But what we know for sure is that they barged into the house of Fatima. And Fatima al-Zahra was standing between the door and the wall. And that man crushed Fatima. When he heard her voice, he crushed her in between the door and the wall. And the nail penetrated through her stomach. And she aborted her fetus, Muhsin. And she called in that state, she called فِضَّةَ أَيَا فِضَّةُ أَسْنِدِينِي فَقَدْ وَرَبِّي أَسْقَطُوا جَنِينِي. Fidda rushed to her and they went towards Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. قَالِعُ بَابْ Khaybar. This is a man who brought down the door of Khaybar, that on that day Rasulullah had ordered him to be patient. Rasulullah had ordered him not to put up a fight and not to take out his sword. So they put robes on the neck of Amir al-Mu'mineen and they dragged him to the masjid to give allegiance. When Amir al-Mu'mineen saw the grave of Rasulullah, he said, يَبْنَ أُمَّ أَنَّ الْقَوْمَ اسْتَضْعَفُونِي وَكَادُوا يَقْتُلُونَنِي. These were the words of Harun when he saw Musa that these people tried to kill me and they saw me by myself, so they took advantage. Fatima Zahra rushes after them and she tells them, "Itruku ibn ammi, leave my cousin, otherwise I will drop my veil and the walls of this masjid will all fall." Al-Sheikh Abdul Zahra Al-Ka'bi, I conclude with this. Al-Sheikh Abdul Zahra Al-Ka'bi was a well-known reciter in the holy city of Karbala, and he's known for his maqtal. One night in his dream, he saw Al-Imam Al-Hasan wal-Imam Al-Hussein in his dream, telling him, "Ya Sheikh, recite our musibah. Why do you not recite our musibah?" He said, "My masters, I've spent my entire life reciting your musibah." They said, "No, there is a musibah, there is a story that you have not mentioned so far." He said, "Then teach me so that I could tell your followers." They said, on the day that the house of Fatima and Ali was attacked, when they ambushed the house and they crushed our mother Fatima in between the door and the wall, and they dragged our father with ropes to the masjid, and our mother fell and she aborted her fetus. I was 7 and my brother was 5. We did not know what to do. This was the musibah. We did not know what to do, whether to stay with our mother Fatima or run after our father Ali. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Raise your hands in dua. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العلي الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا عيبا إلا سترته، ولا خوفا إلا آمنته، ولا رزقا إلا بسطته، ولا شملا إلا جمعته، ولا مرضا إلا شفيته، ولا غائبا إلا حفظته وأدنيته، ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.